Alright, welcome to the class. Well, today we're only going to be focusing on one of which is nothing but about derivatives, okay? The question asks us to determine the f prime of x from first principle if the given function is this. F of x is 2 is to x, okay? So, using the first principle definition, it states as follows. F prime of x is nothing but the limit as h approaches 0 of f into x plus h minus f of x, all this divided by h. Okay? This is nothing but just taking the rate of change of a particular function, of which is, in this case, is f of x. Okay, so what we need to actually be able to identify is f of x into x plus h, and f of x, of which f of x is this function here. How about f into x plus h? F into x plus h is nothing but the function f of x, but where there is x, we put x plus h, so it's 2 divided by x plus h. Alright, so that would actually take our function to be the limit of, as h approaches 0, of f of x in f into x plus h, of which is 2 over x plus h minus 2 over x, all divided by h. Okay, but what we need to do is to actually take this h, of which is our rate of change within the particular function we're dealing with. What we need to do is to take this h off from the denominator. Why? Because if our denominator is only 0, that leaves our answer to be undefined. Okay, so what needs to happen is as follows. We will multiply our function with some factors of the denominators of the two functions that we have at our numerator. What is that? We have x plus h and x. So we will create a constant variable of 1 within the, using this constant x, the denominators. So it will be x into x plus h divided by x into x plus h, because this is nothing but equals to 1. So if we just multiply it back, it will take us back. It will take us back to this original limit that we have there. So to simplify it out, we would have the limit as h approaches 0, okay, of this with the denominator will be nothing but xh into x plus h. These into these here on top would be nothing but, first, let's start with the first. So if we take this function and we multiply it by this numerator over there, what we would have is that x plus h and x plus h would cancel. Would be left with 2x minus, if this function is multiplied by this numerator over here, x and x would cancel. We'll be left with 2x plus h. Okay, but it's very much clear to us that 2x minus 2x is 0. These two cancel, right? So we would have nothing but the limit as h approaches 0 of h over hx into x plus h. Okay, now what we have again here is minus 2 minus h should be minus h. minus h. Okay, minus 2x minus 2h minus 2h. I just rectified some of the mistakes I noticed. Okay, so what we will have further is the limit as h approaches 0 of minus 2h over x squared h. If we multiply this by this inside, and then plus x h squared. Okay, but at our numerator we still have h, and we have h on the denominator, so we can take h out as a factor, and then we cancel it with the h on our numerator. So what we would be left with is as follows. We would have the limit, we would have f prime of x equaling the limit as h approaching 0 of minus 2, all this divided by x squared plus xh. But we shouldn't forget the fact that h is approaching 0. This is a limit that we are taking for x approaching 0. So if we are to substitute h as 0 in our limit there, it would be minus 2 all divided by x squared plus x into 0, of which this is nothing but states to us in conclusion that our derivative of f of x is minus 2 all this divided by x squared. I assume that is pretty much clear, or if there are any questions and assumptions somewhere else, feel free to ask, and then we'll engage from there. But though still, this is just one way to this is just one way for them to make us break a sweat trying to find the derivative of a function f of x. There's much of a simpler way, of which is using let me try to show you. As I still remember, our f of x is 2 over x. Our f prime of x, it was minus 2 over x squared. So we want to use a different method to find this, okay? Of which this is nothing but, for f of x, f prime of x would be 2 multiplied by 1 over x. But what is 1 over x? This will be 2 multiplied by x into minus 1. I just used one of the laws, okay? Exponential laws, if you still remember. So here f prime of x would be, if we want to take a derivative of a number, it should be the function itself to an exponent of minus 1. We take the exponent to multiply, so this will be minus 2 multiplied by x into minus 1, but those still we have to minus 1 again, so it will be minus 2. But x to the exponent of minus 2 is nothing but x is nothing but 1 over x squared. So the final answer is minus 2 over x squared. approves. So you see, this method is way much easier and simple than that, of which gets us to break a sweat a lot. Thank you very much for your time. Whippy.